What's up, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Live With. Today, we're sitting down with Jay Sankey and Kier Gomes to talk about the currently live Kickstarter campaign for the Spectacle deck. We are super excited for this campaign. We've been waiting for this one for a long time. I gotta say, Steve, this is going to be a really interesting conversation here.
This is a fun one. We haven't seen Kier in a while, and this is Jay's first visit to the show. So it's exciting.
So welcome to both of you. This is going to be this is an exciting kind of a momentous occasion here. Yeah. So you ready to jump into it, Steve?
Do it.
Let's do it. So Jay, your first deck of cards on Kickstarter here. This is an exciting moment for you, man. How's it going with this?
It is going great. Thank you so much for asking me. Thanks for having it on the show. I noticed that everybody else has professional grade, decent lighting, whereas mine has this rice paper. I think it's the ghost of Jay has joined us. So I'm leaning real close in hopes of getting, I don't know, to cover up the lack of or something like that. But it's great to be here. Really great.
We are super glad to have you here. I heard that was an intentional filter on your camera, so it's all right.
It is. It is an intentional filter. I always use a filter because the stuff is too strong, dog.
There you go. Oh my God.
Kier has a blinking light in the back. I don't know if like something's gonna take off.
Oh, that's my air fryer. Yeah.
Oh man. He's getting lunch ready for after the show.
Right.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. So guys, why don't you tell us a little bit about how this collaboration actually came together to end up with this campaign we have here, the Spectacle deck?
Here, go for it, my brother.
That's an awesome question. So I think where it really starts is with Jay's fans, including myself. Everybody wants a Jay Sankey deck. You know, nice. I mean, the same way that all your favorite magicians got to do it, right? Yeah, me and Jay connected online on Instagram, talking about. I think we were just talking cards, talking shop, and Jay mentioned that something that his fans are always asking for is the Jay Sankey signature deck. So I think just given the, given the demand that we thought there might be, it seemed like a really good idea to kind of put a team effort together and design the ideal Jay Sankey deck of cards. And I think we definitely were able to do that.
Nice.
Thanks to, of course, Nick Nisco, who could not be here.
Which we miss Nick right now for sure. I mean, obviously, It sounds like all of a sudden we're like giving his like moratorium here. Nick is still alive, just in case anyone's concerned.
But Nick is alive, but he's here in spirit. He's actually in this big pen.
Wow. There you go.
A little something earlier based on a Tarbell thing, and now his soul's trapped inside this writing instrument.
This explains a lot. This definitely explains a lot.
Big Nisco, yeah.
And we at first when we talked about the deck, people asked me, "Hey, where's like a Sankey deck? Where's the Jay Sankey deck? And can you sign it? And this and that. Where's the sort of?" And I released a deck several years ago that was a total disappointment. I wasn't informed. I went through a company I thought would be pretty good, and it turned out to be not good at all. So I actually was really hesitant initially, but then when I came up to, Kier, of course, has a whole background in this. He knows exactly what he's doing, so I just felt totally relaxed when we started talking about doing a deck together. I thought, thank goodness I'll be in the back seat, basically, so I can't screw it all up. And then these guys will be in the front seat, and they know exactly what they're doing, so it's going to be a great team.
Now, you're a backseat driver or what?
I am a backseat driver, but it requires what I did, long story, I got some crutches and some duct tape and attached them to my legs. And they kind of come over the back, and I darkly chuckle as if it's a horror movie. And the car doesn't actually leave the garage, but it is officially a backseat driver. And you won't give me that kind of rope again on this particular chit-chat because it went nowhere.
Hey, you know what? This is Deckin around. That's okay. We love tangents.
Most of our chats go nowhere.
They have their pearls of wisdom, but that's a lot of digging to get to them.
It is a lot of digging, brother.
That's all right, man. We're okay with that. So that being said, though, you're saying you're a backseat driver in here. I have to disagree, because when I was looking through the campaign, you said all of the sketches were done by you, other than the logo itself and the marking system.
Right.
That's a pretty hands-on part of this deck here, man.
Well, you're right. It's time for you to refer to my drawing styles, because everybody knows. And
better than mine.
They did, in fact. Yeah, they came to me because I actually have. What do I have in here? I got a couple of my old cartoons here. I had them like this one, KKKFC. There's an old cartoon of mine, right like that.
Oh,
I got Frankenshriners.
That's funny.
Nice.
Keeping a theme going, I got trouble.
Oh
Trouble
my
in
God.
the playground, because some kid is really not. So they were aware of some of my old cartoons,
Nice.
and they said, "Hey, why don't we? I mean, is there something you can do?"
Yeah.
And so they had me draw sort of the initial drawing for the Joker for the pack.
So
I also
fun.
was doing some sketches for the Ace and all this stuff. And yeah, I'm obviously an amateur illustrator, but it was really such a great inspiration on their part to say, why don't we include a bit of that in this design to make it even more unique?
Awesome.
And I think
Oh,
it
that's
makes
cool.
that personal touch with it as well, because it is the Jay Sankey spectacle deck. So to know that you really had that hands-on part of it really is important. I mean, I think so many, and not knocking it either here, but so many magicians who realize that that is not their strong suit pay a designer to do this. So,
Yeah.
to really be involved in it at that level is exciting. I'm sure it was exciting for you.
Yeah, I loved it. I'm one of these kinds of people that if my fans knew, like I've designed a scarf, I designed a board game,
All right.
I've written some sketches that have actually been seen by some. I've spent some time. I spent a couple of years really developing how to do a screenplay. On page 74, you want this, and on page 105, you want that. Like I really dived. You got it. I ducked.
Yeah, there you go.
I dove into a few different things, and so I'm somebody who dabbles with a bunch of things, but none of them will last. I mean, magic's my love. Magic, I got to a point where I'm actually solid at. All this other stuff, I'm definitely a dabbler, but it's exciting to be able to incorporate some of this other creative stuff into what I do for sure.
That's really cool.
Oh, that is
I mean,
cool.
I think that's part of the joy of finding hobbies is figuring out how you can make them work with each other, and building on them. So obviously, Magic, like you said, really was the solid foundation there for you that stuck and really rose up to where you are now with it. Have you always really wanted to do a deck of cards? Was this something where with your first attempt, obviously it probably turned you off a little bit from it, but
Yeah.
have you been wanting to do this since you were in Magic?
Maybe not since in Magic, but certainly in the last like 20, 15 years. I mean, I've been in
Okay.
Magic for freaking ever. So, but ever since, for certain last 15, 20 years, and that other deck did turn me off. But since then, the idea of having sort of a unique, my own deck and that I worked on and developed with other people. Also, as you guys understand with branding, I mean, people have a bunch of different things they can purchase any day in Magic. There's a bazillion releases, a bazillion decks of cards. And I'm very aware that if anybody wants to get this, it's because they want a piece of me. It's because they care about me and the brand works for them, whatever. And I don't take that for granted for a second. So there's an emotional element to this. And the fact that the response so far on Kickstarter has been so great has been, it's humbling ultimately to that you find out that, after all these years, people still give a crap about what I do. It's humbling. And it certainly helps me just more and more appreciate my fans, as corny as it sounds.
Right.
No, that means a lot though. And I think, that's probably why you do have the support, because you are so in tune with your fans and doing it for the fans. I have to say too, reading through your campaign, you had me laughing out loud. The line about, do you remember Magic in the 1980s? Jay does. I was dead, absolutely dead reading through that thing.
That's Kier. That's Kier.
Oh my God.
I didn't write anything. And again, as I mentioned, because that line has a little bit of that twisted knife we were talking about before, Kier, right? That little son of a bitch. I guess I'm just going to have to chip at the glory that is Jay. Little chippy, chippy, stabby, stabby.
But you know what? We can't all be naturally humble, so we do need those people around us to also help keep us humble. And that's what makes for a great team.
It does. It does. Kier's great. And yeah, Kier, the great thing about working with Kier and talking with things is I don't think there's been a single moment that I've ever sensed that he's anything but this super lovely, gracious, sweet guy. If there was any of that kind of moment, I'd be fine with it. I mean, I've dealt with a million different people, and particularly in showbiz. But yeah, I'm totally kidding about this part because he's nothing but a sweet guy.
Oh, no, we
Yeah.
know that. Kier's one of the nicest guys we've ever met. And
Really?
honestly, I know he is not one to pick fights, so it works out well there.
You guys are making me blush. I'm trying to keep the smile down, but I can't.
It's all right. We can only focus on the blinking air fryer,
just
so we
gonna-
didn't even
I was-
notice.
I was just gonna say it looks like
I'm
you're
just
smiling anyway, because all I can see is a shine.
I just want to know what he's air frying now.
Well, I was gonna tell you guys, but now I don't think I want to. You guys have.
Come on, come on, tell us.
Where's that kick button, Tyler?
Oh man. So now going through this process, were you tentative at first about Kickstarter, or were you really gung-ho on it?
Kier, well, again, I did say backseat. Kickstarter, I have a bunch of different projects. I've been thinking about getting my toe in the water, toe kick anyway. A few different things. And but then when he approached me and said, we'll do it as a Kickstarter, I thought this is a great opportunity for me to sort of have the Kickstarter experience with somebody else who's super experienced at doing this.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, no, the moment Nick and Kier approached me and we started talking, I felt totally comfortable with these guys and thought, you know, they know what they're doing. There's a track record. Yeah, I love being somebody who's been a control freak, and maybe everybody here can relate to this. When I'm so often involved and I have to do every aspect of something from design to this to that, even my videos, I tend to send my directors edit notes and things. I love to work with somebody else who I trust and then let them do their thing. I think, Kier, would you agree that I've been pretty flexible from the start, buddy?
Yeah, I would say probably one of the highlights of this whole experience has been it's been a good balance because, you know, Nick and I obviously don't want to man the whole thing because this deck is meant to represent Jay, but it has been nice. Jay's been very vocal the entire time about like, hey, you guys are the ones that are making the decisions. You guys are the ones that are running the show. I'm just here to, you know, help out and do my part. So I think the partnership works because even though it can be tricky having 3 people in different places, you know, it's anything is hard when you have that many people trying to assume one goal. But it's been nice because I think we all kind of have our freedoms and our liberties that we get to take with the deck. You know, like for example, it's kind of one of those, you know, bring me your ideas. I'll tell you which ones we love and which ones, you know, we'll workshop the ones we don't. And it has been really easy. I will say, working as somebody who collaborates on decks often, like, you know, all of my decks are collaborations. I think that this has been definitely one of the most creatively free projects. Which I'm really proud of the way it came out as a result of that. I think we all got our little piece of this when we were working on it, and it was nice.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
exciting.
you, Stu.
Stu, we appreciate the support, man. Thank
so
you.
much, buddy.
So I gotta say, for you guys diving into it here, you know, like Jay mentioned, you and Nick both have experience with Kickstarter in the past.
Yep.
How was it really building out a campaign that wasn't your own in that capacity, where it was focused on someone else? Was it more nerve-wracking for you?
It was, but it was also, I liked it better because I'm one of those, like, you know, if we do a Slowhands Kickstarter, it's kind of, I don't like typing about myself as if I'm not me, you know, like, well, here is a YouTube personality wannabe, you know, or whatever. But with Jay as a fan, it was cool because, you know, this is somebody that I've looked up to, that I've admired. So writing about Jay on a project that represents Jay, that we're working together on, it was exciting. It did make me nervous because obviously you want to do it right. And Jay has a sense of humor that, you know, only Jay has, you know, so trying to make the campaign as fun and lively as, you know, fans would know Jay, that was really the only challenge, but it was cool to write it for sure.
I think you guys did a really good job with the textual part of it as well. I think it really, like, it hit well. It had me laughing. We had to like retake for the Kickstarter campaign stuff today, probably like 3 times because I was laughing.
I'm gonna interrupt him here because we were going through it, and when that 80s kind of little 80s
I was dying
comment
every single
came up,
time.
He brought in the South Park Member Berry episode. I don't know if have you ever seen that South? Oh my god! So it was a really funny episode. Just look it up on YouTube. Just type in Member Berries.
Yeah.
Basically,
on like a nostalgia aspect of it, and it hit perfectly with that line.
And then
so
we didn't use it.
No, we didn't, because we got laughing on the other stuff we had to like edit 2 times, but it worked out perfect. And honestly, like, I think that's one of the biggest things about the campaign, though. And, you know, it's something we always talk about is building out that story is easy to overlook. You know, building that emotional connection and building that tie-in can actually sway people one way or the other. And when you're really trying to build on a personality like Jay's, doing that right can make or break something there. So really, you did a great job representing Jay without having Jay type it himself. So very nicely done there, Kier.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. So thank you.
Oh, man. So now, I think one of the things that we always love to find out about every deck is, you know, like you said, Kier, you guys have all your own little personal touches in it. Out of all the parts of it, whether it be the court cards, the back design, the marking system, whatever, which are each of your kind of favorite parts of it?
Kier, what do you got, buddy?
I'll go first. This is so exciting talking about this deck still, you know, like I could talk about it for hours. My favorite part, I think, is the little customs that we did on the courts.
Nice.
So I'll wait for that to focus. Sorry. This one is my favorite, but I love seeing these are all glasses that Jay has worn over the years.
That's cool.
And we wanted to make sure that the court cards were standard so you could perform with them, but the little nice touch on it. So the hand illustrated sunglasses or glasses on the courts is definitely, I think, like that was kind of something that I brought to Nick and Jay as like can we try it and see how it looks? I'm really glad that it worked out.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely fun. Now, do you have pictures of all your glasses that you've used in the past?
No, I actually have. They're not down here in the office, but I actually have a small, not trunk, a box with probably 15, 16 different pairs of glasses I've worn over the years. They've become more dramatic as the years go by. Forever, I was wearing glasses that were pretty straight up, whatever. And then as I just sort of became more comfortable being me and coming into myself and doing stand-up comedy and other things and being more and more just me in a grocery store or at a corporate gig. Though what's with the carrots? As I became more and more myself, the glasses became a bit more dramatic. So now we're down to this pair here, which is in fact the pair that's on the card case, wherever the card case is at this point. There you go. Yeah. So all the glasses that are featured in the back design, they're all animated cartoon versions of the pairs I've had over the years.
Nice. That's really cool. And so, Jay, what's your favorite part of the deck if you had to pick something out of it?
I like this. I'll show you real quickly. It's a reveal. It's a reveal because and it was based originally. I like the idea of doing something where I drew something on the back of a card and then you wave your hand and the ink morphed and changed on the deck. And then when I realized that what we could do with the deck, for example, here I'll do this, boom, like that. There we go. That'll work.
Well, I'll blow you up as well. So
in the background there, look at that. That is creepy as hell, that door. If something comes through that's blinking like electronically.
Like my air fryer.
The air fryer's in the closet.
We'll bring it all together. Air fryer. Okay, yeah. So again, sorry about the quality of the camera here, but real simply, you're going through, someone calls stop, you say, look, I'm not even going to have you pick it out of the deck here because I could get a glimpse at it or something. I'll show it to the camera here, show it real quickly like that. They see it. And you get to do this reveal. You say, okay, so you're thinking of a card somewhere in the pack. Here's what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to cut the cards about here. And let's see if we've been lucky. And I don't know, but maybe we've the king of clubs. And they go, no, that's not the card. I go, well, look, hopefully we can use the king with the cool glasses on. We can use the king to see if we can find your card. So you say, watch. Just going to give it a little rub here and keep an eye and see if I can rearrange the ink on the back of the cards to maybe, yeah, okay, was it? So dope. And they say, yeah, well, so it's an 8 for sure. And I go, but now the problem is we got to figure out, the king was able to help us, but the question now is which 8? Which 8? So watch, I changed the ink on the back of the card. Let's see if I can now kind of rearrange the ink on the face of the card to, yeah, there we go, the 8. The heart and the reveal. So nice. That's my favorite feature on this because, when I got the proto deck, I started messing around with this and sort of almost comparing. I was at that time if things were just opening up in Toronto, so I was visiting a few friends and trying the version where I drew the word magic, wiped it, it became an 8, and then tried the version with the actual back design, and this got a much cooler reaction. So that's probably my favorite aspect of the deck for sure. But of course the markings are cool too. Kier, do you want to talk a little bit about the readers?
Yes, let's do that. So I haven't said anything about other than the fact that the cards are marked. Some people have, on Instagram have debunked this, but if you guys look, Nick's marking system here is really smart. So he's got the value and the suit marked in different places. I don't want to give it all away yet. I think there's probably a video that could be made, about this, but the marking system is genius because it's one of those things that with a hand-drawn deck, everything kind of looks a little bit messy or a little bit, home hand-drawn. Yeah. And so we really leaned into that for the markings to make it undetected, especially the suits. The suits, I think, are a little bit less detectable. Mm-hmm. But the way that it blends as a reader back is really nice because for beginner magicians, people with poor eyesight, whatever, you can still read the markings. But for spectators, there's no way that they would be able to see that or notice it. So that's really cool. It's genius. Yeah, I really love the marking system here.
Awesome.
And anytime you give Nick Nisco an opportunity to create a new marking system, I'm sure he jumped right at it because he had such a good time with the carbon deck. I knew he was waiting for another opportunity to jump into it for sure.
Yeah, I think the marking system on the carbon deck, is genius. But for a reader back, I like this even better. I think it just came together so well, and it fits. You know, it's a perfect. It's not like we shoehorned a system in there. It's not like we tried to mark a deck that shouldn't be. It really seems like it fits in there. So
nice.
I'm stoked.
Here, I never mentioned you. When you guys were starting to pitch me back designs and different things, my original thought, when you think Magic and the people who want to get into Magic, often, and I know obviously this isn't just for magicians, it's for card collectors as well, but a notion of power is really underlining so much about what goes on in Magic, notions of power. And when I think of power, I don't initially think of a light colored back. I think of a dark red, royal blue, whatever. But then when I started thinking about it more, one of the things I love about the lighter color, even though it's predominantly blue, but the lighter color is now I can sign cards, not just on the face, but on the backs.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of stuff, because I love doing stuff with ink and with my signature. And there's so much now I can do that I normally could only ever do on a red, or even not really even on a red bike back. So this light, I love the fact that it opens up so many possibilities for me now with my autograph, with this, with that.
That's really cool.
That's cool. And it's your deck, so you'll have a ton of them. You'll be able to like sign as many as you want. Just you'll have more decks right behind it.
Right, and when the Kickstarter thing tanks, I'll have way too many decks. So thanks a lot for that.
You'll be doing fine.
You'll just have to do more shows. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. Since the 80s comment now. And guess what, folks? His mortgage still isn't paid. He's doing more shows.
Oh my gosh. And so I think one of the cool things though as well about being a magician in the Magic space is you have more to offer than just a deck on Kickstarter. You know, we were actually talking about this yesterday. Sometimes you see a campaign and you look at what they're offering. It's always a deck of cards or it's art or something along those lines. But being a magician, you have so much more to offer with it that really ties it to that Magic side of the world there, whether it be tricks or tutorials or explanations or whatever. How have you found that kind of tie-in and the response from that for the Kickstarter campaign?
Well, I was receiving not a ton, but definitely emails asking, okay, I buy the deck. Are you going to share some cool stuff on tutorials that come with the deck? And absolutely, I'll be doing some of that. I also, when we were talking earlier, I had a trick that came to me about 4 or 5 years ago. The idea was to use a tarot card because I always love tarot. And this is, of course, the Magus card or the Magician card.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a perfect tie-in if I could do something with this that packs flat and plays big. And I thought to myself, it would be cool if we could tie that into the trick in some way. It's called a strange attraction. And again, I've been developing it and thinking about it. And I wanted it to work with pretty much any deck design, no matter the back, because that's one of the big things is people have. So I've worked out a really sweet handling that works with the spectacle pack, but also with any standard face card where what you do is they select a card and this and that. I won't show you the visual on it right now, but there's a bunch of different really cool visual handlings. And in the end, you take their card and are basically able to morph the selected card onto the face. And this happens in their hands under really test conditions. They see you put both items in their hands. Your hands are empty. They open and they find that the two have morphed, the strange attraction going right to the top. So that's an example of how we've been able to look at this deck and for Kickstarter and to kind of unpack it in a few different directions in the Magic space. And it's just been a really interesting flashpoint designing this deck together.
That's really cool. That's really, really cool. And so did you find the creative process with this similar to what you've had when creating Magic in the past? Or was it kind of a different direction for that creative kind of design?
Definitely a different direction. Again, I got Kieran and Nick, they kept coming back to me and asking, we're thinking this way, we're thinking that way. And I go, well, that sounds good. This sounds good. How about, and sometimes we take it down to the three of us, whichever two of three would vote when we weren't sure. So they were so inextricably involved, and I can't spell inextricable. I really can't.
They were so
inextricably involved in the process that it was unlike anything I've done before. And of course, with a magic trick, you know, my criteria when trying to develop a magic trick for marketing is quite different than designing a cool deck, for sure.
Nice. And I got to say, I thought the marketing push you've done so far for this has been really interesting because you guys have been teasing this for a long time out. I mean, Kier obviously knows how to do some great teasers across the board, but between you, Nick, and Kier, you really put together such an interesting campaign and really that growth up to it Did you find a lot of people were getting like antsy towards the end?
Kier, what do you think, bud?
No, I don't think so. I think so the strategy, some of it was intentional. I think some of it was just we wanted to make sure we didn't push things too early, but we also wanted to make sure that, you know, once we made the announcement, that we kept feeding what Jay calls the drip. We wanted to make sure that we were constantly leaving some kind of, you know, something for people to latch onto, or just to remind people like, hey, you know, we're still doing this thing, you know? Yeah. And I think what it really came down to was, it was all about, like, when you're trying to promote something, it really just depends on how, like, the audience that you want to see it. And for Jay's fans, I think, you know, there's a lot of loyalty there. So safe to assume that any marketing strategy for a Jay product would you know, apply to his fans. For me and Nick, it was more like we wanted people to continuously be wondering what's going on. You know, like, okay, so we saw this Instagram post that says Sankey, Gomes, Nisco, and this little logo. What does that mean? And then, okay, here's a quick look at the, you know, a single card that we're doing. And then we'll let a few months go by, you know, or a month or two go by. And then we'll go, hey, do you guys want to see the Jokers, by the way? And people go, oh yeah, I forgot about that deck. Now I want to go look at the previous post plus this new one and kind of, you know, pick up the pieces. So the way I thought of it, and me and Nick talked about this, is we wanted it to kind of be one of those things where every time we put something, whether it was an Instagram post or whatever, because of how long we have been working on this, we wanted people to be just fuzzy enough on it to have to go back and look at the other posts as well. So we could kind of build this puff piece of a marketing campaign from it. Now, I will say the unintentional piece of it was we've been working on this deck for almost a year. And for different reasons, there's, you know, like, so much that goes into it, as you guys know.
Yeah.
And it's hard to promote or to keep something hype or to keep something interesting for that long. So for us, I think it was all about having, you know, few and far between posts, just to remind people that it was happening. And then once we were all good, we were good to go. Then it was like, let's just release everything that we have. Let's do pictures every day. Let's, you know, let's put the Kickstarter together and make sure that people know where to find it. And then, you know, so we took it slow, but for the purpose, I guess, of keeping people interested for as long as it took us to get this thing going.
Nice.
Here's my problem.
Great approach.
Here's my problem with the whole campaign. There's no stretch goal for a pair of glasses.
So let me, I've gotten a few people that have asked me, and Jay, I don't know if you've gotten a lot of this, but I've had a few people ask me, like, why we don't have big stretch goals or gilded versions of the deck that are on there. And I think that the whole thing is, you got to remember who's buying the deck, and they're fans of Jay as a magician, right? This isn't going to be, you know, this isn't going to be anyone worldwide where we need to put holographic gilding on the edges, or we need to apply to, you know, the every corner of the community. We're really trying to make a deck that rings true to the one thing that we're certain of, and this is a worker's deck. You know, this is a deck of cards for people that want to get out there and rip it up and have it signed and do their thing. And I think the other thing is, you never know, you know, when it's your first project. Same thing, like, you know, goes for like when we did the first Slowhands, and since that was a Kickstarter, you don't know if it's going to fund anyway. So you don't want to get over ambitious and have people getting really excited about a gilded version, or, I mean, a pair of glasses would have been sick, to be honest, but you don't want to get people excited for something that you might not be able to deliver on. And, you know, the truth is, nobody knew how this was going to be received. You know, I'm really thrilled with how it's being received so far. I couldn't have asked for a cooler start. It was really nice. We got to do the live the day of the launch. We had a really successful first day, and I think that if we would have overdone the stretch goals and the extras and the add-ons, I think it can be overwhelming for first-time Kickstarter people. Yeah, for me, I never back the extras because I don't really know how it works. I mean, I know how it works now, but, you know, I think that, like, the real big thing is just what can we offer that's simple, that can get the cards to the backers faster. If you look at people like, you know, like our friend Omar, the Gentleman Wake. Yeah. His campaigns are, you know, I mean, huge. They're massive in scope and in budget and in everything else. And he makes awesome stuff, but they take a year and a half to get to you because of how much has to be produced before they can ship them out. We don't want to wait. You know, we made people wait a year since the announcement just to get the Kickstarter. I'm not interested in making fans wait another year to actually get the product, you know?
I wanted to, though. I thought it would be really cool as rewards or add-ons or whatever, like small capsules filled with Jay's authentic tears. I was thinking maybe a PG and maybe a sandwich made by Jay and FedEx and these kinds of things. But every time I tried to come up with some good ideas, Kier and his whole company just boom, boom, boom. So I'm really disappointed, frankly.
Here's the thing. You guys are talking about gilded decks and tiers and all this crazy stuff. I just want a pair of fucking glasses.
Now, hold on. I got this for you here, though. Spectacle Deck V2 comes, you have an option to add on the Jay Sankey Beginner's Magic Kit, which comes with glasses, a bald cap, a deck of cards, and a book of just fun Jay Sankey tricks.
Yeah, we'll see you guys.
Jay Sankeyisms.
Yeah. Well, first, Jay Sankey Beginner Magic Set leaves me open to a whole bunch of shots, dude. Okay, it's going to be shots fired, a lot of body parts hit right there. I can write the first 6, number 1. As for a bald cap, I don't know if that's a value added. I'm not sure.
You can if you like make a card appear out of it or something.
Right, we could make a card appear out of it. That's true. We could do that. Yeah, but again, you know, that's the great thing about working with these guys. And also, speaking of if my fans wanted it, and I don't mean if they wanted, they would have told me already. I mean, if it got some traction with the fans, literally, like Jay sell bald cap, I'd be the first to do it because my thinking is whatever my fans want.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the right mentality. That really is.
Well, because I mean, I don't know your backgrounds and everyone, but from the age of about 16, 17, first time I started doing stuff with magic clubs and things, I got nothing but support. And people ask me, they go, "Man, you've worked so hard for your success." And yeah, I've worked hard, but the real thing is from a very early age, I've had nothing but asthma. From a very early age, I've had nothing but the kind support of fans all over the world. Nice. And I'm not gonna, that's what I want to honor more than anything else. So if the fans wanted bald caps, we'd line up the bald caps.
Well, hey, you know what? If they like them, they can drop a comment down below and we'll tally it all up for you and let you know for the V2.
Right. Well, the V2 and the notion of glasses is cool. I actually have in my books 4 or 5 different tricks with glasses, both gimmick and straight. So maybe we could blow the dust off that and add that in there. That would be cool too.
That's like the key. I mean, that's the cool thing that magicians can do. You know, when we see Alex do it all the time, you know, you're just adding tutorials, adding free like master classes and different things like that. And, you know, Tyler and I were talking about it. You know, we wish to see more magicians utilizing Kickstarter for, you know, whether it's tricks or, you know, and throwing those, you know, utilities, I guess you can call it, into their tiers. Not tiers, but tiers.
Thank you. Yeah, and this is so exciting, again, because I feel like I got lucky getting involved in Kickstarter. I've got another project I'm going to sort of be blowing the dust off of, a non-magic project. And I'm just thrilled that, again, be able to, I want to learn more and more about this process for sure.
Awesome. It's definitely an interesting process, and I think you teamed up with a great set of guys to really help walk you through it. You know, one of the questions that actually came in, and I'm guessing this is probably where you're thinking about going with the next Kickstarter, is the board game you mentioned. You know, someone was like, "What kind of board game is this? Where can we find it?" So there's already an interest in the Jay Sankey board game, but I'm curious a little bit more about what this board game's all about.
Right. Build off that. It's funny because whether it's been stand-up comedy DVDs back in the day, or magic VHS stuff, literally way back, or live events, or books, or over 100 products on my website. One of the things I've learned over the many, many years, been lucky to learn, is how to package, promote, sell, and fulfill stuff, how to really monetize my creativity in a million ways.
Nice.
So that's something I won't go into much detail, but the new Kickstarter project is about really, because now, of course, we're in a creator content explosion, the economy, the global. So now is the perfect time, really more than ever, if you want to monetize your creativity in some form, product or service, and then be able to create that lifestyle as a result, now is the best time. And I have so much experience in this that this is an area I'm going to be jumping into with a really special long-term video course. So that's probably what I'll be doing next. And again, it'll be thanks to work. It'll be thanks. Well, this is something I can speak to really from my blood in a way. I know more about this. The only other thing I know this much about is magic. So to be able to have work with Nick and Kier and get into this space for me, it's just, I'm always looking for something else to kind of do that's creative and interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have two guys that are know the process and are good at what they do. You know,
Oh,
so
sure do.
I feel like I'm in like the Twilight Zone. Like we're talking to Jay Sankey here, and somehow it keeps coming back to me. We're talking to Jay Sankey, boys.
No, well, that's the thing. That's
bro, we're talking to Jay, we're talking to Tyler, we're talking to Kier.
Yes,
you know.
People are people. That's the great thing about it. You know this, Kier. Plus, you're a great man. We love you so much, Kier. So
you got to give it up. That's all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
you. So, if there was one thing, this is something I always like to hear from the creators. If there was one thing that you could tell people out there who are on the fence about this campaign, what would it be?
Kier, that's yours, clearly.
All right. That's a great question. I remember you guys asking that question last time too for me. If you're on the fence about whether or not you want to back it, what it's going to come down to with this deck is, are you looking for a deck that you can use as a utility? Are you looking for a deck that you can perform with? Because if so, this is that deck. There's built-in gaps and gimmicks and markings and all kinds of stuff to keep it fun. And if nothing else, that's why we're all into Magic, because it's fun and it's and it's whimsical and magical and it keeps you guessing. And this deck has stuff we haven't talked about everything, and there's some stuff that we probably won't talk about today. But there's things built into this deck and the design, and there's things that make it fun to look at and rewarding to look at. You can learn things just by owning the deck and looking at it from time to time. You'll find stuff, and I think that having a deck that can remind you that even your own tools you might not know all the way, that's fun, and that's what it's all about. So if you're on the fence about buying it, just buy the damn thing. You'll be glad you did it. Okay. I'll be glad you did it. I promise you. And that's my pitch, but I really do. And I stand by this. I think that this is a deck that's made for the magician. It's made for the person that still enjoys Magic and still enjoys the wonder of Magic. And that's really a big thing.
Kier, you're a poetic son of a bitch, man. That's a whole lot more interesting than any crap I would have served up. So as you can see, my hat is off to you. You rock, dude.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
And for anyone who has not checked out the campaign yet, definitely go check out the Spectacle deck on Kickstarter right now. The link is down in the description below. It's also pinned up in the chat. And while you're at it, definitely go make sure to check out Jay and Kier's channels on YouTube, because clearly you can see they're both awesome guys. We absolutely love having them on here today, talk about this deck. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm really excited to see how this deck turns out, because I think this is going to be the beginning of something exciting, especially Jay on your end. I think I'm really excited to see what the Magic aspect you bring to Kickstarter is going to be. Like Steve said, we always encourage magicians and Magic creators to use Kickstarter as kind of that marketing and testing ground platform. And so few people actually do. And when they do, they actually get great traction. So hopefully, we're wishing you much success in those future endeavors as well, but especially with this Spectacle deck, because I think you guys put a lot of heart and soul into it, and it shows.
Steve, Tyler, you guys are so great. Thank you for having us on. You're both smooth. You're articulate. You're great on camera.
Thank you.
And like you need my endorsement, but it's just great to work with people who obviously know what the hell they're doing sometimes.
This is such a much fest. Thank you so
much.
No,
but I appreciate, you know what I mean? We all work with people. I've changed my clothes in a million washrooms all over the world. We've all, come on. So I'm just saying, it's really nice to work with people who are so competent and professional and welcoming. So thank you so much for your time, man. And the focus, that's awesome.
Thank you guys for coming on. We really do appreciate it. For everyone out there, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and go check out that Kickstarter campaign as soon as possible. This is a hot deck, and you do not want to miss it. Guys, we appreciate it so much. Everyone out there, enjoy your afternoon, and we will see you soon.
Peace out.
Thanks for having us. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Peace.